of Monday, March 13th, 2023 to order. Will the clerk to council please call the attendance?
Councilmember Tabernick,
Present.
Councilmember Reeks,
Here.
Councilmember Lawson,
Mark Lawson here.
Councilmember Howard,
Here.
Councilmember Glover,
Here.
Councilmember Dawson,
Here.
Councilmember Cunningham,
Present.
Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Councilmember Bartholomew,
Here.
Vice Chair McEllen,
Here.
Chairman Passament.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then please remain standing for the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we come before you to give you thanks for the many blessings that you have given us throughout our lives. We thank you, O God, for allowing us to assemble here this afternoon. We ask your blessings upon this council, that you, O Father God, will give us your divine guidance as we deliberate the issues that come before us. I ask you, O Father God, to help us to make wise and prudent decisions, that we might do the bidding of the entire county, that all the citizens would benefit. And if by chance we should disagree, let us disagree in love, for it's in the name of Jesus I pray. Amen.
Amen. Public notice of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. Before I ask for a member to make a motion for the approval of agenda, I'd like to remind council members and anyone who comes to the podium to speak, the microphones are very sensitive, but if you do not speak into them, people who are watching us online cannot hear us. So please make sure that you are close enough to the microphone. Thank you. I ask for a member of council to make a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Mr. McCallum makes the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Mr. Dawson makes the second. Duly motions and seconded. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, the agenda will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. We now turn to our County Administrator, Mr. Greenway, for his report. Good evening, Mr. Greenway.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the council, and those who are in the room with us this evening, those who are watching us either online or through our channel on YouTube. Thank you all. I just have one announcement to make. Back in my last administrative report, I told you that we were on the verge of settling the Bay Point lawsuit over the ecotourism resort establishment there. That has been settled and dismissed, so that lawsuit is no longer in existence. I will state that there was an article in one of the local newspapers that gave the credit for that settlement to the Coastal Conservation League and the Environmental Law Center. It was strictly county legal and county administration that settled that particular item with the representatives of Bay Point and their legal counsel. So just want to clarify the record.
You mean to
there.
say that the newspaper was incorrect?
Sometimes they do get it incorrect, yes. So anyway, I don't think it was intentional, but I did want the record to reflect that the county administration played an important role in settling that particular situation. So as I customarily do, I introduce employees that work for the county. Tonight, I will be introducing 4 employees. I will be starting off with an employee from an elected official's office, the auditor. So Lisa, come on up. So this is Lisa Graham. She is a personal property tax analyst. She's been with the county and the auditor's office for 4 years. She calculates and creates personal property tax bills, processes claims and refunds for personal and real property, communicates with taxpayers, processes homestead and military exemptions, resolves related issues, and performs various other administrative and clerical duties. Lisa has become the customer service queen in the auditor's office. I'm not sure, is that a title that you?
I guess so.
Okay,
I guess
okay,
so.
all right. Lisa's enthusiasm and positive attitude have helped boost the morale around the office. She understands the importance of communication and has created a memorable experience for both our external and our internal employees and external customers. The auditor's office is very fortunate to have her in this office. Something unique about Lisa is that she enjoys cooking and spending time with her family and friends. So you told me you didn't want to say anything. I just want to make sure that you're still holding firm there.
I'm
So,
good, thank you.
let's give Lisa a round of applause. You taking my picture or not? Do I need to worry about that? I don't know what the protocols are anymore. So, anyway. Thank you. Robin? I have some hard names to pronounce tonight, so
Craybill.
it's going to be challenging for my southern accent. So anyway, this is Robin Craybill with our Disabilities and Special Needs Department. She is an administrative assistant. Been there 16 years?
Yes, sir.
In that department for 16 years? That's awesome. I didn't realize you could like Bill that much. Just hang out with him for 16 years.
That's great.
Yeah, so Robin coordinates maintenance repairs for DSM facilities, coordinates licensing of the CTH homes, coordinates Alliant licensure inspections for the CTH homes, compiles monthly training materials for new hires and current staff. She does records management. She coordinates with IT when service and repairs are needed, records minutes for several DSN meetings, staff meetings, residential supervisor meetings, human rights meetings, etc. She provides training and support staff members for REP, PHERAP, and whatever needs to be done. Something unique about Robin is that she is an art museum geek. So you like to go to art museums? Art. She has been employed as an administrative assistant at DSN since 2007. She is the go-to person when you want something done well. Her collaboration skills are quite impressive. She's hardworking and respected and always willing to do something extra. You want to say a few words?
Yes, I do. I want to say I am so thankful and appreciative of my job at DSN. It's been very rewarding. And my coworkers are not only my coworkers, but they're my family. Because when I moved here, I didn't have family. So it's been great. And I love those individuals that we take care of. They're my heart.
Let's give her a round of applause. Yes, thank you. Why don't you say your name for me?
Anita?
Everybody catch that? I didn't want to attempt that. So Anita works for our Alcohol and Drug Abuse Department. She's the administrative clerk. She's only been with us a year and a half, so you're relatively new. That's great. All right. So as BACADA's bilingual administrative specialist, Anita performs various administrative support duties in the assigned program, division, or department using technical knowledge of work areas. Her responsibilities include coordinating staffing needs, reviewing, verifying, and processing applications, certifications, license, permits, and other documents, preparing and providing specific department information to clients and the public, maintaining databases and department website, preparing and modifying routine and non-routine reports, newsletters and correspondences. Steve's got you doing a lot of stuff, I tell you. Monitoring deposits and payments, maintaining office supply and inventory, preparing meeting agendas and taking minutes and coordinating events, and planning and coordinating the work of assigned support staff. Something unique about Anita is that God is her strength and her center, and this is what makes her unique. So I think that's a very strong thing to have as something unique about you. More people need to have that, and I want to ask you if you want to say a few words. It's strictly up to you.
I just want to say thank you to Steve, the Beaufort County Alcohol and Drug Department, Barbara Mathis. My husband passed away late last year, and I've never been shown such compassion and such care and such patience as I have with Beaufort County. Thank you.
This is Galen Stirrup. Come on.
Come on.
All right. Also with alcohol and drug abuse, certified prevention specialist, been with us 3.5 years. He is a successful grant writer. You turn out a lot of grants. You're very successful in getting those, so job well done. Steve's always bragging about his department's ability to get grants. So I guess most of that credit goes to you.
No, Steve is also a major contributor. I'm just
Oh,
trying to
okay.
help out where I can.
Because he takes all the credit. I just want you to know that. He has worked collaboratively with the director and has won 2 grants. Both grants enable Back of Dad to do media campaigns for the English and Spanish-speaking communities. The grant awards allow prevention work to take place in high-density schools with Spanish-speaking students by a Spanish-speaking preventionist to meet a fundamental service gap and to enhance the visibility of the opiate crisis. One grant was opiate-specific, and the other was alcohol-specific. Galen coordinates the Narcan events you see published. They have received much praise from the community and led to positive press coverage. Galen also contributes to the department's social media campaigns and is the editor and publisher of Back of Dad's newsletter. You're doing a lot, too. And the newsletter is called The Butterfly Effect. Galen serves on county and state boards representing Back of Dad in Beaufort County. Galen is quite an asset to the department and is current co-recipient of the Back of Dad's Employee Spotlight Award. So there's something unique about New Hampshire, that's what you're going with? He's from New Hampshire, that's what's unique about him, so anyway. So anything else unique about you want to share?
Well, there's plenty unique about it. We can go on all day, but.
I got you. Well, I'm going to turn the mic over to you in case you want to say anything, okay?
Well, I just wanted to say to County Council, thank you very much for your time and your effort. I've been a transplant here for about 6 years, and this is, working for the county is the best job I've ever had. And you guys have given me so many opportunities to grow in ways I never thought possible. Thank you very much.
Give him a round of applause. So let me say something that was, seemed to be a little rushed there. I want to thank all the employees. One of the employees, of course, that I highlighted tonight does not work for me, but I will tell you that I do see the elected employees a lot. I want to commend the auditor's office as well as my other employees that I introduced tonight. They all work hard every day. The auditor employees, they have a difficult job, but they do a phenomenal job for the community and the public here. And my hat goes off to them as employees of an elected official, but also I can't thank the staff that is under my care for what they do for me every day as well to make the county, to make the council, and make the citizens, to meet the needs of the citizens of this county and to make me look good as an administrator. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're at the citizen comments, and I've taken a look. We only have 2 individuals who wish to make comments, and they are not on the agenda items. We do have several agenda items that people can speak about because we are going to have public hearings. And just before that, Fred is walking out the door. Fred, stay for 1 second. Fred is walking out the door, but I want to give special acknowledgement to he and his staff because they came over and did a presentation in Sun City, which was an outstanding presentation on some of the programs they have to offer senior citizens like myself. It was well received, so thank you very much.
Steve, he's talking to you.
Steve Donaldson.
Oh, that's Steve Donaldson. I'm sorry.
Steve, tell Fred, will you?
You look exactly like Fred.
Thanks for stopping, Steve.
Okay, so I am going to ask the two gentlemen who wish to speak about off items to please come forward. You will have 3 minutes to address county council so that we can move our meeting along. Mr. Tropiano, would you please approach? He is the first individual.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Council. Hope everyone is well. My name is Elvio Tropiano. I live at 1 St. Helenaville Road. Thank you for having me here tonight. Extremely excited to finally be able to speak publicly as now I'm the owner of Pine Island. I'm here as a local citizen, a landowner, and not a mystery developer. Pine Island has been a private property for well over 150 years. It's been used as a gated private recreation destination under multiple different owners. It will continue to be utilized in that capacity under my stewardship, but in a manner that allows me to protect, preserve, and activate the land in an unprecedented manner. Pine Island's approximately 500 acres of high and dry land with 7.5 miles of deep water shoreline. It's 38,000 linear feet. Under current zoning, I can build 165 new single-family homes and well over 80 docks, if not more. That's not what we're here to do, though. While I bought this property in reliance of what current zoning law allows, our team has always had a vision for bigger and better. Over the past 2 years, our team of world-class planners, engineers, environmentalists, archaeologists, local historians, scientists, and lawyers have been operating with a simple mandate for the future of my property. 1, a deep and unwavering respect for the environment. 2, a light footprint on the land and surrounding ecosystems. And 3, and most importantly to me, a business model that allows for significant economic impact and long-term philanthropic commitments. We've been saying that for 2 years, and I think a lot of people have heard it. I come from a family of first-generation immigrants. Fiercely hardworking people that sacrifice everything to put me in a position, to have success. The future of Pine Island now allows me to fulfill that lifelong responsibility of doing that for others, carrying on a legacy of creating opportunity the same way they did for me. Staff has done an incredible job working extremely hard with council to find pragmatic solutions to sensitive problems. They've been unfairly demonized by the media and local interest groups, all while simply trying to do what is best for the county and all of its citizens. This council and the staff should be extremely proud and commended for your efforts day in and day out for trying to make Beaufort County a fine place to live, work, and play, a place I now call my home. Moving forward, our team will be taking the necessary steps to ensure that this vision can become a reality. This will include balancing and securing my private property rights with standard and customary procedures, and I'll make myself available to each and every one of you to walk through our goals. I'm extremely proud of my team. They've acted with dignity and respect at every possible opportunity. We're going to continue to operate in that manner in pursuit of delivering unprecedented levels of commitment to Beaufort County. I appreciate the time. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, Arnold Brown. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. I want to thank you, and I want to thank God for the freedoms that we have. I just have 3 bullet points that I want to talk about tonight, and this is in reference to the Pine Island, the CPO zoning language that we have on the books. I want to talk about marriage, investors, and interpretation. St. Helena Island does not want to become another Hilton Head, just like Hilton Head does not want to become another Myrtle Beach. Marriage. About 4 decades ago, I was married to a young lady from upstate South Carolina. To my surprise, she did not know how to cook grits, rice, oatmeal, or cut chicken like my mother did. After another year, I found out that she didn't know how to clean fish. Okay, I did not know she was not a great cook. She was a good cook, but not a great cook, but not like my mom. I got her as is. She got me as is, warts and all, whatever problems I had. We were as is. We were as is couple. Investor. Now, the investor was just here from New York or Boston, I'm not sure. He knowingly, willingly, and negligently bought land that's not approved for a golf course. So you shouldn't have a lot of sympathy for that. Paid $18 million, knowing that it was not zoned for a golf course or a gated community and some other items. So it's as is. The government, the city council is not responsible to bail out an investor. I'm an investor all over, not all over the United States, but in different states. I was never bailed out. If I make a bad investment, that's on me. If now, an investor may have a problem and he wants to transfer his problem to the citizens, residents, and property owners of St. Helena Island. The concerns of the golf course and the island being changed dramatically was identified over 20 years ago in the CPO language, original CPO language. The interpretation. As a politician, you know that sometimes you can be misquoted and misinterpreted. So the best way to resolve that is for a person to come to you and ask you for clarification. We can get clarification from the authors of the original CPO, Mr. Emery Campbell, who lives on Hilton Head, Queen Quet, and others. So there's no doubt about the misinterpretation about how many holes allowed on the golf course, or dividing it into different areas and putting 3 here, 6 here, and 6 here to add it all up to 12 to 18. We know how to add and subtract. So I'm running out of time. So there's more information to come. So I appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close the citizen comments, and now I'm going to call on Mr. Glover to read the proclamation for tonight, which is recognizing the Development Disabilities Awareness Month.
I thought I saw, I thought I saw Mr. Love here a few minutes ago. Was he here? He left. Oh, okay. Thank you. It's my pleasure to read this proclamation from County Council to the Disability and Special Needs Board. And because disability and special needs actually do some tremendous work here in Beaufort County, and Beaufort County has been very supportive of our disability and special needs families. And I think we should always be proud of that, because they compare us to a lot of other counties, and we have always been a step above those counties. So I think we should be proud of that. The proclamation reads, whereas more than 500,000 South Carolina residents and families are impacted by severe lifelong disabilities, including autism, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, and intellectual related disabilities without regard to color, culture, geography, age, or economic class. And whereas people with lifelong disability are productive citizens, neighbors, and family members deserving of respect and opportunity for economic self-sufficiency, independency, and personal growth. And whereas we recognize with heartfelt gratitude and appreciation the caregivers who selfishly provide physical and emotional support to Beaufort County residents with disability and special needs. And whereas the 223rd or 23 Observance of Disability Awareness Month celebrates the successful partnership between people with disabilities and without, as well as the increasing involvement of people with disabilities in education, employment, and community activities. Now therefore be it resolved that Beaufort County Council proclaims March 2023 Disabilities Awareness Month, and is dated this 13th day of March 2023, and is signed by our chairman, Joseph Pasterman. Thank you. And please, the mic is all yours. Okay.
Thank you very much. You want to get a picture? I got one. Okay.
Yeah, I sure want to take this. Okay.
On behalf of the department, thank you very, very much. I know that they work very hard to do what they do, and I know they appreciate this, so thank you very much.
Okay, we're at committee reports and liaison reports. I'm going to turn to Mr. McKellen
Yep,
first.
thank you. During during the last term of this body, there was a construction program that took place right next door at the Arthur Horn Building. Half of the building was removed, and the old magistrate's court stayed intact, and the building that we see out the door here was constructed over that 4-year period. That construction houses primarily the judges and staff of the Beaufort County Magistrate Court, as well as a variety of other departments within county government. On the second floor of that building, there's a majestic ceremonial courtroom that was put together at the direction of Mr. Greenway that I think rivals any courtroom in this county. It's really a remarkable piece of work. If anybody has the opportunity to go over and see it, I would recommend that you do that. It will be used for jury trials, it will be used for traffic court, and it will be used by other people in the community who have a need for a room where they can celebrate whatever occasion it is that they are celebrating, as all of the material in the room is portable and can be transported out of the room for other use. So that building is quite beautiful. They had a presentation or a celebration on February 17th of 2023, opening the building. And at that celebration, the Chief Magistrate, Shonda Scott, presented to Beaufort County Council this plaque, and I'll just take a moment to read it. In appreciation of your support, diligence, and continued dedication to the successful completion of the new Arthur Horn Building and the Beaufort County Magistrate Court. Presented by Beaufort County Magistrate Court, February 17th, 2023, and I'll share it with everybody here and offer my thanks for all the support that you provided to the court on behalf of Judge Scott. Thank you all very much.
Very nice.
Thank you. Committee reports. Any committee reports? Ms. Howard.
Committee report, liaison. Port Royal is still working on their draft tree ordinance. They did not pass it at their meeting last week. They have annexed 12 acres from the county, which they plan to probably, it's thought that it will probably be multifamily housing on Paris Island Gateway. And then the library board had their meeting last week.
Thank you. Any others? Mr. Dawson.
Just for public notice, the Department of the Navy announced in the Island packet last week, I think, the U.S. Department of Navy announced that they're renaming one of their missile-guided carriers, named the USS Chancellor. They're renaming it after the Civil War hero Robert Smalls, so the carrier will be renamed USS Robert Smalls in place of the Chancellor. So they're just news for the public.
Thank you. Ms. Dappernick.
Last week, several of us attended the legislative delegation meeting at Buckwalter Recreation Center, and I had posted it all over Facebook, but it's very interesting to hear our legislators talk, what you all know. And I also wanted to point out, many of us went to the South Carolina Association of Counties. That was my first time, Paula's first time, Tom's first time, David's first time. Very informative, and it was great to see our legislators in action. They were actually talking about a tough topic, the death penalty, but very interesting to meet with them and talk to them. So that was a great opportunity.
Thank you. Any others? I have two items. On March 6th, 7th, and 8th, I attended, along with 27 other members of a delegation consisting of 7 counties of Allendale, Bamberg, Barnwell, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties. We were in Washington, D.C. as a regional group to extend our base of operations and meet with our legislators in Washington, D.C. at the congressional side and the Senate side to talk about our 2023 economic development priorities. We were well received. We left behind a lot of information. We will continue to move forward with that. And finally, I received an email today. It is from the town of Port Royal, who would like to express their gratitude for the funding of a new library located downtown Port Royal. This community is definitely looking forward to this addition, and we thank you. This comes from Councilmember Kevin Phillips and the town of Port Royal. That concludes our liaison and committee reports, and now for our action items. Item number 9, will a member offer a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cunningham makes the motion.
I second that.
Ms. Brown makes the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. Item number 10 is a public hearing and second reading of an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute the necessary documents and provide funding for the purchase of real property located at 1230 North Okatee Highway, commonly known as the Cooler Tract, for the purpose of consolidating county sheriff facilities and operations to this property and for other first responder facilities as desired. A motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Tabernack makes the motion, Mr. McKellen makes the second, duly motioned and seconded, and I turn to the public. Is there any member of the public who wishes to make a comment about this particular item? I see no comments, therefore we will close the public portion. Is there any questions from council before we vote? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Item number 11 is a public hearing and second reading of an ordinance to amend the Beaufort County Ordinance 2022/33 for the fiscal year 2022-23 Beaufort County budget to provide for additional appropriations to pay for the Port Royal Library, transfer funding from the general fund to the capital improvement fund for the bathrooms at Bruce Edgerly Field and Burton Wells, the use of funds to complete the EMS firehouse in Bluffton, funding for a planning and design work for the USCB Convocation Center facility, funding for a pathway at the Disability and Special Needs Building, funding of repairs and replacements of CIP, additional funding to the Island Recreation Center, funding of a cost of living adjustment, suspend the current year transfer from the hospitality tax fund to the general fund, funding of the dirt road contract 54, and other matters related thereto.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, that motion is by our councilwoman,
Second.
and Mr. McKellen is second. Any comments before I go to the public? Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we will close the public comments. Any comments? Ms. Howard, you were first. Any comments?
No, we're just glad to see all these things happening.
Excellent, thank you. If there are no further comments, this will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Item 12 is a public hearing and second reading of an ordinance appropriating funds from the state 2% accommodations tax fund and other matters related thereto. A motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. McKellen makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Ms. Brown makes the second, duly motioned and seconded. Is there any member of the public wishes to make a comment about this? Seeing none, we'll close public comments. Any member of the council? Seeing none? Yes,
Can I
sir.
just ask one question?
Yes, you may.
With this in the next item, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about having accountability or receipts with work done. What, have we made any progress with that? Or what are we doing for when the job is done, do we get receipts for the work that's been done? Does that make sense?
Yes, we do. Mr. Greenway?
Where's Hayes when you need him?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're already doing that. We either have two options for entities. We either pay the invoices directly, or they submit the invoices after they pay it, and we reimburse them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, this will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Item number 13 is a public hearing and second reading of an ordinance appropriating funds from the local accommodations tax and local hospitality tax fund and other matters related thereto. Motion and second, please. Mr. McClellan makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Dawson makes the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Any member of the public wish to make a public comment about this? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Any comments from our council members? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. Item 14 is a public hearing and second reading of an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute the necessary documents to purchase and to fund the purchase of real property located at 333 and 335 Buckwalter Parkway.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Logan Cunningham makes the motion, and Larry McClellan makes the second. Duly motioned and second. Any member of the public wish to make a comment? Seeing none from the public, we'll close public. Mr. Greenway.
Just want to let members of council know that we were informed sometime last week or week before last that this property is impacted by a development agreement, and it currently does not allow the particular use that we want to put on the property, affordable housing, strictly calls for commercial development. So we do want you all to go ahead and authorize the purchase of the property, but I want you to be aware that due to that condition, it may be some time before we actually close on the property. So we will not be closing immediately. And of course, we will not close on the property if we cannot use it for the intended purpose. But we would still like for you to go ahead and proceed on with giving us authorization so we can close on it as quickly as possible if we're successful in working that change to the development agreement out.
So our goal is to go into that agreement and get that removed.
Yes, oh yeah.
Okay.
And we have verbal commitments from the town of Bluffton, but it's also my understanding, I don't want to make this too complicated, that some town council members for the town of Bluffton have started reaching out to council members, wanting to know what type of affordable housing we're going to put on the property. I am not comfortable with limiting the type of affordable housing that we would be required to put on that property, because this is an excellent investment for us. We need to maintain as much flexibility as we can from a planning standpoint to get as much density in this area where it's appropriate as possible.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
I have one. I'm just a little confused because Bluffton is part of the Housing Land Trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what's this all about? Why are some of their council members?
This is just what I've heard. Nobody's contacted me directly about it. I will not know until I sit down and have specific discussions with the town manager.
Mm-hmm.
As I've told you all before, my communication is through the town manager at each jurisdiction, not with elected officials. But it is my understanding that maybe some elected officials have reached out to some council members and have inquired as to what type of housing we're planning to put on the property.
Got it.
Let me just add that this is in the town of Bluffton, so if we were going to change zoning, it would have to go through the town of Bluffton, so that's where the change would have to make. It would not be just like if someone comes to us for our piece of property, we decide to change it to the zoning. It'd be the same thing. We're purchasing the property, it's in the town of Bluffton, so we would go to them for approval of whatever we're looking at trying to do.
Sure.
We have commitments from the town to do affordable housing on the property. That's not going to be an issue. I was just making that statement so that you all understood that the type of affordable housing, they may try to limit that. I don't know that for sure at this point. That's just something that I have heard, and I wanted you all to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection. Are there any objections? Seeing none, it is approved. Item number 15 is a public hearing and third reading of an ordinance amending the Beaufort County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 38, Article 7, Section 38-94, Green Space Advisory Committee membership, terms, organization, and to further define the Beaufort County Green Space Program Advisory Committee membership terms, term limits, minimum requirements, procedures, and geographical presentation.
Mr. Chairman, I think we missed over
Skip 15.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You just read 16.
Oh, he read 6.
Oh, wait,
You read 16
I thought
as
he was
15,
right.
Mr. Chairman.
well, you know what?
Let's vote
That's
on
because
16.
mine is reversed.
What?
My copy.
Because you're
No worries.
special.
Yeah.
Swap me for a moment.
We'll do yours, and we'll go back to the other one.
Okay. 15 is the public hearing and second reading of an ordinance to authorize the county administrator to execute the necessary documents to purchase and to fund purchase of a portion of real property located at 1505 Salem Road. Motion.
Chairman, I'd like to second that motion, because that's Ms. Howell's district.
Okay,
she
Ms.
will make
Howard,
the
are you
motion.
going to make the
I'll make
motion?
Motion, yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Glover will do the
Second.
motion in second. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment about this? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Any comments from council?
Yeah, it is.
Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and there is no objection. Now, item number 16, which I read as 15, okay, is a public hearing and third reading of an ordinance amending the Beaufort County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 38, Article 7, Section 38-194, Green Space Advisory Committee membership, terms, organization, to further define the Beaufort County Green Space Program Advisory Committee membership terms, term limits, minimum requirements, procedures, and geographical presentation.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cunningham and Ms. Howard made the motion in second. We're going to the public. Is there any member of the public who wishes to make a comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Any member of council wish to make a comment? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. Item number 17 is a public hearing and third reading of an ordinance for a text amendment to the Beaufort County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 82, Impact Fees, Article 1, In General, Article 2, Development Impact Fee Procedures, Article 3, Parks and Recreation Facilities, Article 4, Road Facilities, Southern Beaufort County Service Area, Article 5, Library Facilities, Article 6, Fire Facilities, Article 7, Road Facilities, Northern Beaufort County. A motion and second, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
Ms.
that, Mr.
Tabernack
Chairman.
made
I'll
the
second
motion, and Mr. Cunningham was the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Is there any member of the public who wishes to make a comment about this? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Council members.
Yes, if we could, Chuck, if you wouldn't mind coming up, I know that Ms. Ryan from the Home Builders Association had asked at our last meeting just an update on where we are with our NDA, so if you can just come up and give us a background check of where we are with everything in each different municipality in the county.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Hello again. So I'm going to go back a year ago. I promise I won't get long-winded on this. We sort of hit the reset button on IGAs a little over about a year ago. And staff met with all of the municipalities individually. We took note of their needs. We crafted the IGAs around what we all thought were the important elements, and we drew consensus on that. That was a pretty long process. South of the Broad, it included a secondary study, which I described at a meeting about a month and a half ago, where we redid the South of the Broad Bluffton area traffic impact analysis study. And we reformulated the CIP list to accommodate the lists specifically so that folks would agree with the IGAs. So that brings us to where we are today. Town of Port Royal has signed their IGA. The City of Beaufort is at second reading, waiting on third reading so that they can finalize it. The Town of Bluffton, they passed unanimously and accepted the IGA, the draft IGA, November 8th of last year. So that one is rock solid. They've already voted on that one. Hilton Head, they are still working through their process. I will point out that they are going to collect only two fees. It's going to be the road fees and the library fees. Parks and Rec they're not going to collect that one, and the fire, they have their own fire department. So they're not going to collect that. So I do know they're working through that. Yemassee is locked in, and Town of Hardyville, we got an email from them with a couple of draft changes last week. We agreed to them, so I think we're rock solid there. So what does the transition look like? It's going to take Beaufort County staff about 30 days because we're changing the service areas, which means we have to change our internal software system to align actual account numbers with those new service areas for the collection of the fees. It's going to take about 30 days to send out the notice, to switch over the fees, and it is our intention to have all of the IGAs settled within that 30-day period so that we're all in lockstep moving forward. And we will announce that date once this is done. I meet with our IT staff and figure out exactly when that's going to take place. We'll send out a communication, and we'll make sure everybody knows what we're doing from that point. So I hope that addresses your question.
Yes, and just to be clear, IGA stands for Intergovernmental.
Intergovernmental Agreement, that's right.
I called it an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So
Right.
For that, but, yeah, good, thank you, Chuck.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I would think Hilton Head's road impact fee has to be a major one that we gotta get accomplished. With the amount of traffic that's going towards the island that Bluffton's stuck paying for, Beaufort's stuck paying for in their areas. Can we move forward with this without their agreement in place? Because when this is passed, we're moving forward with it with or without them signing.
Yeah, so I can't speak for the town of Hilton Head, but I will say they have been at the table the entire time. They have seen the CIP list. We have had verbal commitments, if you will, that, yes, it looks good, we're on board. They've seen what Bluffton did. They were okay. It's my understanding, again, I can't speak for town administration, but it's my understanding that they had a new council come on in January, and they wanted them to work through the process, so they had a complete understanding, and I just don't know where they stand with it. But I have no indication, I've received no indication that they're not going to sign on for the collection of those two.
I just have my own personal reservations based on this whole bridge fiasco with the things they said we were good for, then we weren't, then we good were. So, just sharing my concerns out loud on that. I don't know if this is something we should postpone to get more information on?
No.
Or should we move forward with this? Because we got in a situation before where we passed a school impact fee, and Bluffton said they'd be on board, and Beaufort said they'd be on board, and they never signed their agreements.
So I will address postponing it. When you're talking about motivating factors in intergovernmental agreements, postponing our vote is not a motivator for any individual jurisdiction. It doesn't do anything but harm us. So I think the way we motivate people is move forward. We pass this, we implement it, everybody else is on board. If there's an outlier, we'll address that when we get to it. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Obviously, I can't vouch for them personally or anything like that, but I have received no indication that they're not going to come on board with it.
Chuck does not know this piece of information, but we have a request for $3.5 million from the town of Hilton Head from transportation impact fees to do signalization timing on the island. I have responded to that request through a letter that Jared had drafted to say, sure, we'll be glad to give you that money once we have the intergovernmental agreement for the impact fees that we've sent to you all. So we're waiting on them. As soon as we have that, we are confident that we will get those IGAs or we will not be sending that money to them for the traffic signals on the island. So.
Mr. Chairman, so I'm totally in favor of the impact fees, no problem. I'm just sad that it doesn't include the school impact fees, because we're going to have an issue with that, and I know that's not part of this, but I feel compelled to say it again. And did we give the school district the Tischler-Bice study?
Yes.
Because starting at page 256 is all about the schools, and somebody there should probably read it.
We did not give the school study to a Tischler-Bice school impact fee study to the school because Tischler-Bice worked directly for the school district on the school impact fee study.
Okay.
So they should have had that information through their own work with that consultant.
Yeah, they were fully aware.
Any further comments? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection. Are there any objections? I see no objections, and that item is approved. Item number 18 is a public hearing and third reading of an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute the necessary documents to accept a grant of perpetual easement for a public use and access at the Sands Point Landing from the town of Port Royal.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize that.
Ms. Howard makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Ms. Brown makes the second, duly motioned and seconded. Anybody from the public wish to make a comment about this? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Any comments from council? Seeing none, this will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Item number 19 is approval of a resolution to commission 2 solid waste and recycling enforcement officers. Motion and second, please.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Lawson makes the motion. Who made the second?
I did.
Mr. McCollum made the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Any questions? This will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. The next 3 I'm going to take as one resolution.
3 questions, sorry.
Yes.
Who was the first and second for item number 17?
17 was, Ms. Tabernack made the motion, and Mr. Cunningham made the second.
Thank you.
Item number 20, 21, and 22. I ask for a council member to make a motion for the approval of a resolution to accept the 2023 Palmetto Pride Litter Enforcement Grant Award.
I'll make that motion.
Wait.
Oh.
And approval of a resolution to accept the 2023 Palmetto Pride Litter Crew Grant Award, and approval of a resolution to accept the 2023 Palmetto Pride Keep South Carolina Beautiful Affiliate Support Grant Award. Now,
I would like
Mr.
to make
Reeds
that.
makes the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And Ms. Howard makes the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Any questions? These 3 items will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Item 23 is approval of a resolution authorizing the Beaufort County to work with the town of Hilton Head to develop sustainable and viable long-term residential solid waste management, recycling, and organic waste solutions. Motion and second, please.
I move
Second.
for approval.
Mr. Glover made the motion, Mr. McKellen made the second, duly motioned and seconded. Any comments?
I have a couple questions.
Go right ahead.
I heard, I'm trying to get my head around this GIC and what their role's going to be, and I see it's advisory.
Yeah.
I had the
GIC has nothing to do with this.
Oh, what's it? Okay,
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely nothing to do with this.
all right.
Any other comments? No comments, this will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. Item 24 is approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of real property for the right-of-way associated with the near-term improvements on South Carolina Highway 170.
Raise that, but
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cunningham makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we all like 170.
Yes, I heard Ms. Brown. Duly motioned and seconded. Any questions from council?
Not really a question, just a quick statement, if I could, Mr. Chairman. Jared, this is the final piece for us to actually start putting this out to bid on this project. I know this is something we've been talking about for a year and a half. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the final one?
This is the final right-of-way piece. We're working right now. We have an encroachment permit with DOT. We're working on our agreement, IGA, with them. We have some funds that we're working together with, so the appropriation of those funds, the DOT funds, coming to the county. And once we have that in place, we'll be ready to put this out to bid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? This will be approved without objection, and there are no objections. We're at the second citizen comments. Is there anybody who wishes to make a comment before we adjourn? No comments? We are adjourned.